go those pink blooms again. I see your pink blooms. And on that tree right there too now. Yep. That's what I told them last week. I didn't know they bloom so soon. Hi, two people. Happy Monday. It's Money Monday. And it's whatever Monday it's been for you. Let me know. Tell me what Monday it's been for you. It's Money Monday. It's been a good Monday for me. And I hope it's been a good Monday for you. So I'm live. And as usual, I'm going to keep it the same as it always is over here. So if you happen to be live and you see something on my community wall, it's not out of anger, but it is meant to stand on what I said. So that being said, I'm live. Hey, Sonya. Happy Monday, Sonya. Thank you for coming to the live. I tried to get back to my usual time. Sonya, did we talk to you after that? After you had your shrimp boil on Friday? After your shrimp boil? I know you were at Jill's. Weren't you there at the trivia game? That was fun. That was fun. It was a lot of fun. People are serious about those trivia games. They start Googling stuff. They start pulling out their old games and the information they got. They start questioning your source. Like, if their source is different. But I'm live today, like I am every day, doing my cool down. I worked out because Sonya, you're a Leo, so you already know the Leo in me. I had to mature into a better Leo, right? Because some Leos roar, but their bites aren't as big as their roar. Some have big roars and big bites. See, you see these little petals? Those are what I was talking about. It's like the tree can't hold the number of petals that there is. So, yeah. But I try not to roar because I keep it simple over here. I keep it positive over here. We keep the BS out of here. And that's what it's going to still be. Kids are over here. You know, and like I say, today I'm going to start my live with don't let stressed people stress you. You know that's how I usually end my live. But I think I need to say it throughout this live. Don't let stressed people stress you. And don't let bothered people bother you. Especially if you don't bother nobody. Now that's going to be the key to this live. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program. You were there off and on. Me too. I missed the last part of it because I got to the part where it was over, but they wanted to continue. So I had to go back and watch the last part of it. But it was so funny. It was fun. And it was funny. And it's funny how much you think you know about pop culture or, you know, trivia in general. We should have had one for Black History Month because Black history seems to have been forgotten in this 29-day February. The only month that's set aside for us to celebrate hasn't really been celebrated the way it should be. Hey, Cool Gamer. Who is that? Oh, I don't know how to say your name. I don't know how to say your name, but I hope if you're a troll, I hope you're a good troll. And since I don't understand what your language is, if you can put it in English, that'll be good. But if you can't, that's good too, as long as you're not causing any problems. Because that's what I stand on over here, no problems. But sometimes I think that's the cheese that people try to nibble at when you don't want problems. Or you come in too much. So you might be a bad troll. Because I can't tell, you haven't been here before. I have people from everywhere. Is that what it is? Because see, I have people from India, Indonesia, Africa, all of that. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know what it is, but I know what it ain't. I know what it ain't. Okay? So if anybody has any questions for me, now's the time to pose those questions. Otherwise, there should be no questions if they aren't posed. There shouldn't. Look at this, y'all. Look at this tree. It's like, it's not a big tree at all, but it came up. And it's the same one that I usually see, but they just added more to it because I don't know. Maybe they don't have the equipment to just kind of, take it down all at once. And you can look at the branches and tell. You can look at the branches and tell that it's weak, I guess. You know what? They don't look weak. Looking at it, I'm still looking at some of it. I guess it's just it's just small. And they probably wanted it out of the way. And I don't know. Didn't have time to get it all at one time. Sonya said, Sonya says, I hid him, Sonya, because I didn't know. You know how it is, girl. People don't like for you to have peace. They don't like for you to have peace and positivity, especially if they don't have peace. But we have to make sure we maintain our peace and maintain our composure like an adult, like men and women. Some people just don't like for you to have peace. So you know how they do. They troll, and because they want it to be chaotic in the chat. They troll because they want it to be chaotic in the chat. And you got some good trolls. They don't really care if it's peaceful. Well, I guess they do. They do. Because, with the vertical streaming, we get a lot of trolls because we're on like a shorts table. So they come in and they act silly and they say little silly things and they go on about their business. But then you get people who troll you, who you least expect. They have no reason to troll you. They have things going on, so they decide to troll somebody who they think don't stand on business. But I encourage you all to always stand on business. You just don't have to be out here wilding out, but you still stand on business. And you don't feed into everything. I try to live by the things that I post. You don't feed because some things are too trivial, too childish to feed into. And most of the times, they're not your concern. So don't feed into them. Don't feed into the trivial things. And don't feed into anything that disturbs your peace. Because a person with a peace that's been disturbed will do anything in the world to disturb your peace instead of going to the source that they need to go to. So that being said, I am still live for anyone who wants to come into the live to ask a question, make a statement about whatever. But now let's talk about this money. Y'all, what have y'all been doing to make that extra money? Y'all know we talked about this last summer. We talked about this at the beginning of the year. We probably talked about it a couple of times last summer. So we're gonna talk about it again because I've already opened the door for anybody who come in who has a question for me to come in. I'm a Leo, but I'm that old school Leo. So you have to show some maturity. You have to be like a lady. And you can't be yelling and screaming and getting your blood pressure up over trivial things. Hey, Rosie. Hey, Retirement Days. How you doing, Rosie? Retirement Days. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting. I forgot your name, but I share you out. I need to, and I know your name. It just doesn't come to me. It doesn't come to me. I know I have another, there's another content creator on here. She's a lot like you. And every time I see you, her name comes to mind. I always forget. And I just say retirement days all the time because I know the difference. I know you're not her, she's not you, but I just forget your name. So thank you for coming in here. And I'm going to make sure to remember. Betty, okay. See, there's a content creator. Her name is Susan. And every time I see you, I think of Susan because you two ladies are really, really similar. And I know that's not your name, so I just don't say anything. I say retirement days. And I have seen Betty before. You're good, Rosie? Rosie, you got some candy over there you eating? Sonya says, hey, cool gamer. Sonya says, I'm giving myself a break from the treadmill and stationary bike. So what are you doing? What are you going to do to replace that your treadmill, Sonya, for your cardio? You see how easy breezy and smooth it is over here? A lot of people don't like that. They won't say it, but they don't like it. Or someone else encourages them to see something a certain way. That's usually what it is. Peer pressure is crazy. Peer pressure is crazy. Sonya says hello to everyone coming in. Sonya, you already know my best friend is my elliptical. So I did arms, back, chest today. I did the elliptical. And now here we are. Hey, my chef finest wine. Can't type. Listening. My awesome lives. My chef finest wine. My chef finest wine. Bro, you know what? See, God knows who to bring around when you need them around. Because, Chef, you already know how we do. And when you see somebody going through something, you don't like to be a part of it. You definitely don't like to add to it. But if they keep nibbling at you for like you're a piece of cheese for some reason, you have to sometimes say, okay, let that one go. Let that one go. So why haven't you moved on? Like, I don't care who else is talking about whatever you got going on. Why haven't you moved on? So my chef, I almost went live too quickly before I exercised. So I had to exercise. I had to release those endorphins, And I suggest that to a lot of people. Get outside. And don't just get outside and observe the nature. Get outside and be a part of it. Get to moving. Get to climbing. Like current day, present day. Climb some trees if you can. Climb a fence or two. Jump a fence if you still can. And for the kids in here, I know y'all can jump fences. I know y'all can. Rosie says, I'm going to chill out on the candy. I be getting too hyped up. Rosie, it gets you hyped up. I like chocolate candy. I don't like a lot of hard candy. I like I would eat gummy worms and gummy bears and stuff like that. But I stopped. I don't like them as much. Hey, April. April says, hello, everyone. Hey, April. So, yes, y'all, I love all of y'all. But it's always something about my chef finest wine. Even if it's something that's ticked me off at work, at the store, when I see him, I feel better because I know we're a lot alike. And I know that we also try to respond a lot alike. Okay, see, snapping and going off, what does that do? If you're in Walmart and you snap and go off, you get the potential to go to the clink clink, or you get a lot of ugly stares. And the sad part about it is some people don't care. You should always care about the way you carry yourself. And don't make your problems other people's problems. Take accountability for your problems. Don't make them other people's problems. So when you're in Walmart, sometimes you have to calm down because people do the craziest things when you're out. When you're on these apps, sometimes you have to be methodical. Sometimes even maniacal. But I prefer just being methodical. I think everybody should be that way. Think. You should think. And when you're 30, 40, 50 years old, you still may have a temper, but you still need to think. You should be more crafty. You should think a little bit more than you did when you were a teenager, than you did when you were 20. You know, you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be just right, but you should think. Yes, Chef Fine this wine. I almost, but you have to, you know, sometimes you just have to remember that sometimes people are just, you know, they're just going through it. And instead of taking out their rage or anger where they should, I don't know if it's a fear to do that or what it is. And then sometimes they probably had a dislike for you all along and just didn't want to share it. Well, pop, well, pop. I'm telling you, I think I had, and you know, y'all know I said the breathing doesn't work for me. It's starting to work a little bit more. It's starting to work a little bit more. Actually, it does work better than it did 10 years ago. Because when I'm breathing, I'm seething. So that's, to me, it just seems like, why am I taking so long to go ahead and hit 1,000? I feel like go ahead and hit 1,000. Don't breathe and wait to hit 1,000. By then you want to hit 2,000. So we have to, you know, we have to contain ourselves sometimes and just let the crazy stuff, you know, be that, the crazy stuff. We have to adult. Sonya says, I am doing 10,000 steps this week. Okay, inside my house, and I planned on doing it daily, 10,000 by 12 noon. Are you serious, Sonya? That's good. I plan on getting up every day, 9 a.m. Every day at 9 a.m. That's good. Oh, now this wasn't here. Somebody just, don't you hate it when somebody's driving and then, like they're on a truck or something, and the stuff falls off their truck? And then they leave that stuff in the road and in the streets. And you come along and you gotta, you know, swirl around it. And sometimes it's not big enough to even see, but it's big enough to cause damage to your tires. So sometimes it's kind of like a pothole, you know, a trick pothole. I call a pothole a trick pothole when you can't see it until you hit it. And it's too late then. You can't swerve. Don't even do it. Don't mess up your axle. Don't even try and swerve. Don't even try and swerve. So again, it's February, y'all. So what have y'all been doing to move differently as it relates to finances? And finances doesn't always just mean money. You know, we talked about goals, we talked about resolutions for those who have resolutions, and we talked about New Year's goals. So one of those goals that was mentioned was money. So since it's Monday, and a lot of people make money Monday, they make moves Monday, you know, Mondays are mindful. You can have a mindful Monday. So what are some things that you're doing to, one, save more money, two, new investments, three, new business ventures, four, to make more money? See, those type of conversations may seem boring, but I bet you they bring you peace of mind. Mindful Monday. Those type of conversations may be boring, but they bring you peace of mind. Hence, Mindful Monday. But see, I didn't want to make such a long title. I didn't want to say mindful. What is this? Okay. I didn't want to say mindful and money. All that was getting to be long. So I just said money. Everybody thinks about the money. Everybody thinks about the money, even when they don't think about the things that they truly need to think about. Even when they aren't mindful about other important things, everybody's mindful about money. Everybody's, you know, would like to have ways of making money, investing, streams of income, sources of income, streams and sources of income. So, and not just money though, everything else that we've talked about, like the goals that y'all discussed earlier in the year, and like, well, even late last year and earlier this year, those goals, are you on track with those goals? Are you on track? Are you behind? If so, what are you doing to catch up? And if, do you even want to catch up? Because sometimes we set goals, you know, and we set them too high. We set them a little bit too high for where we are at that time. Not that they're too high ever to achieve, but they're too high at that time. So, have you set goals? How are you as far as how close are you to setting them? Now, everybody, it's good to have short-term and long-term goals. I think most people have, I'm not sure, this is just what I think from talking to people. A lot of people have long-term goals. And that being said, I guess it depends on what the goal is, because some goals can be long-term, but they're less than a year. Some goals can be considered short-term, and they're 2 to 3 years. So it just depends on what the goal is. It depends on where you are in life. It depends on if you made progress already. Because a lot of times we do things and we're into things already. And we have to say, hey, look, I've been doing this and I can really improve on it. I'm really good at it and I can improve on it. That's so funny. I'm still looking at that pop. She'll find Swan says we were pop. But we tried to breathe beforehand. I'm telling you. Especially when you're you're not really the target that a person should have. Especially when you're not really the target the person should have. Be strong, stand in your stuff, and address who you should be addressing, who you need to address. Someone who's done something to you, not someone who hasn't. So what, 23 minutes in, y'all. Y'all know, it feels so good today that y'all know I have these extended cool downs. It's breezy. I know it's like 60, 62. It feels so good. The birds, they're out here playing around. People have mowed their lawns. The lawns are looking nice. Don't you love it when you don't have to how many of you guys have that neighbor? If you're in this live now, you can let me know. If you come across this replay, you can let me know. But how many of you have that neighbor who never does their yard work? Like everybody else's yard looks nice, looks terrific. And then there's always their one neighbor. And truth be told, they are right. They are correct. If it's their property, they can do whatever they want to do on their property, as long as it's legal. But I would just feel so funny being the one yard that looked a mess, and everybody else's yard looks good. Everybody else's yard looks good. Or at least those that don't look so hot, people are working on them. But you see that one yard that it's like they just don't care, y'all. They don't care. And I'm not going to say that all people like that don't care, because I guess I kind of think of hoarders. Hoarders don't really look for things to be nicely placed. Hoarders just want what they want, and they want to keep what they want. And it doesn't even bother them. They don't see all the things that they have as junky or, needing to be straightened up. Because even a junkyard can look nice. Even a junkyard can look nice. Sonya says, living in a HOA, we all have to keep our lawn done. Yes. You have to. And sometimes it's so funny when you live in a HOA. Even then, there's still going to be that person who always gets the notices. And, you know, it really causes friction in the community a little bit because, well, you know what? It doesn't cause a lot of friction most times, because most of the times the HOA is good about saying, hey, you know, even if they have to remind them a little bit from time to time, HOAs are good about it because they mean it. They mean it. They want things to be just right, just. You know, they don't want the property value going down. So they feel like if you want to live, you know, and just in a way where you just throw things everywhere and don't care, you should have your own, you should just go out and buy a large plot of land to yourself, and that way you can do that. But a lot of people really do get upset with HOAs. They get upset with HOAs because, you know, they enforce the rules. The rules are there for a reason. Rules are there for a reason. And a lot of people truly do think that rules are there to be broken. Some people truly think that rules are there to be broken. Rules aren't meant to be broken. Some of them aren't good rules. Some rules aren't good rules. And you would you would like to break them. And sometimes you can get away with it. But be careful with that. Be careful with that. Be careful of what rules you break. Be careful with it. They don't play around here. You you have to keep it up. Yes, Sonya, yes. It's like you have to keep it up. The most they typically let, you know, and then some not even that. Like when the seasons change and these pine cones, look at that one. It's sitting straight up. I mean, it's sitting straight up. When these pine cones and things like that fall, you know, they give you a little bit of time to get that up. But not a lot. Not a lot. And you really can't blame them. Because when you give a person an inch, they take a mile. When you give a person an inch, it never fails. Somebody is going to want to take a mile. That happens all the time. You give somebody an inch, they want to take a mile. You give them a mile, they want to take 10. All the time. All the time. But you know how that is. It's just, I don't know, I think sometimes people just think that they're above the rules or the rules don't apply to them. No, a lot of people do have that me complex where, or that I'll say it's the I complex. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do that. And that's all fine. But, geez, sometimes that's one of those times where SELF and selfishness is not a good thing. Y'all know I always preach that being selfish can be a good thing, right? When it comes to taking care of your mind, your mental, your physical. That's why I always encourage y'all to get up and move. Y'all already know you don't have to run a marathon. Just move. Just walk. Get the synovial fluids moving. Let those joints, it's just like a hinge. Joints are like hinges. Sometimes hinges need WD-40. Well, the WD-40 for your joints is your synovial fluid. So move so that your body can create more. That's a good thing about the body. You know, we have to go buy WD-40 for the hinges. But we can create synovial fluid by simply moving. Simply moving. And if you still don't generate enough, then you can go buy some injections. You can go buy some injections, but hopefully you don't have to do that. Sonya says there are, I don't know why this thing is dark, because there are pros and cons. Yeah, when it comes to HOA, I like it because there are certain things you can do around. You can, yeah. And I'm glad, like a dog gets to be picked up, and dogs, right? Sonya, Sonya, okay? That's just like my little friend. You know, I call him my friend, but he still has teeth. I don't play with him. I don't play with him. His one day, his owner, you know, sometimes his owner is out there. Well, every time he's out there, his owner is out there. But one day he was like, he's not gonna hit a lick at a flea. Y'all remember that saying? He or she won't hit a lick at a flea. He's like, he won't hit a lick at a flea. And I'm like, as long as he got teeth, he may not hit a lick at a flea, but he'll take a bite at a flea. And he'll take a bite at a person too. It was so funny. He said he won't hit a lick at a flea. And I was like, yeah, I know about that one. My granny taught me about that one too. Sometimes people, animals won't hit a lick at a flea. And you, and they can act like they will, but they won't. But they won't. But see, the difference between pets, they don't know. You know what? I was just about to say they don't know as much as humans. But I don't know. I don't know. You got some pretty smart pets. You got some pretty smart pets. You do. I think sometimes we don't give them enough credit for their intelligence. Sometimes we don't give them enough credit for their intelligence. Now, if you're a pet owner, you're a dog lover, cat lover, then you know what it is. You know how intelligent they can be. They can be highly intelligent. They can also give you, show you things and show you signs that you need to pay attention to around your home, with yourself, with your children, with your family in general. Pets are very intellectual. They're very intellectual. I'll say that they're a lot smarter than people give them credit for. Yes, the dogs. I thought that was like, I'm probably wrong, but I thought that was like a universal thing. But to keep them on a leash. And I know when you're talking about like certain, like a municipality or city limits, they're supposed to be on leashes. Now, sometimes the rural areas, they let those dogs roam. They let them roam. And that's not good. That's not good, because dogs will tend to click up in packs. When they start to roam like that, they'll click up in packs. And that's not good. Sonya says, I try to keep moving. I was tired after walking up and down my stairs this morning doing those 10,000 steps, but Gary said, but it's fair. I think it's a typo. I don't know, Sonya, you know how these phones are. Sometimes we create these sentences and paragraphs, and we have to go back and take a second look, because our smartphones or our Androids, iPhones, whatever, they aren't quite as smart. They're only as smart as the creator. I think sometimes people don't realize that anything is only as smart as the creator. But it's fair. See, look, Sonya, I wasn't even catching the it. I was catching the fair. I was like, it's fair. Okay. I got you. Yeah, it is fair. It is fair, because you get, when you're working out, sometimes you get tired and you're like, oh my gosh, I just wish I could be done. It seems like a chore. It does. It seems like a job. It seems like a chore. But when you're done, when you're finished, you feel so good. You feel so good. And again, if you feel extra tired, still 30 minutes or so after you work out, tone down a little bit. Tone it down some. Maybe you're doing a little bit too much. And y'all know what I say over here, disclaimer, always consult with your healthcare provider, and make sure that you're doing exercises that are fit to, your level. that fit your level. I always say, don't go out here and try and run a marathon that you haven't trained for. And definitely don't try and run a marathon and you don't even exercise at all. Yes, be encouraged. Have that mindset that I'm going to get started. And I'm starting today. But don't do a marathon today. If your town, your city has a marathon coming up, don't decide to, just try and run that 5K. Don't do that. Don't do that. Train, train, train. And if you exercise, still make sure that the level that you're on is suitable for whatever event it is that you're trying to participate in. Just because you briskly walk for 15 to 20 minutes a day, or even 30 minutes a day, which you guys know I strongly recommend 30 minutes, doesn't mean you can go and run a marathon. Athletes have to train. They train for a reason, to get their bodies in shape, to get their bodies ready and prepared. But what we need to do, just non-athletes, we need to move. We need to move. I encourage everybody to move. Just move, move, move. Again, it helps your mind. It clears your mind. It doesn't remove your problems, but it helps to clear your mind. And sometimes it allows you to, rethink, refocus, resolve, and come up with a new plan. So you replan. You replan things. So it clears your mind. If something's going on with you emotionally, if you're focused on whatever it is that you're doing at that time, whatever exercise that it is, and just trying to think good health, it may not take away your emotional problem either. But hopefully for that few minutes, it'll give you a release. It'll give you a release. I was trying to say it's fair to keep moving. The after effects, they're great. The after effects are great. You get tired while you're doing it. You're tired immediately after. And if you haven't been doing it consistently, you'll be tired for the first few days, couple of weeks even. But within a couple of weeks, you'll start to notice the difference. You'll start to notice the difference. When you're doing it, you're not quite as tired, and you feel better, you sleep better, you think better. You do all of those things better. You do all of those things better. And if you aren't doing those things better, then it's time to continue to exercise, but find solutions that work. Find solutions that work. Even if you have to talk to someone, find a solution that works. Break away from stereotypes. And if you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. Find solutions that work. Sometimes people can help you create a plan to help, just like a person can help you, a fitness trainer can help you come up with a plan to get you in better shape. There are people that can help you come up with plans to put your mind in a better place and a better space, and to help you to rethink things or to think differently. And there's no shame in that. If there's no shame in having a fitness trainer or a personal trainer, then there should be no shame in having someone to help you train your mental and your emotional, to help you train the way you change the way you respond to things, change the way you act. And sometimes you can be your own trainer. You just have to be dedicated to doing it. You have to be dedicated to doing it, and you have to focus and do it when you do it. Most of us can change our own ways of thinking. Most of us can change our own actions without help. But sometimes people do need help. Sometimes people do need help. And just being afraid to ask for help is something that's just, it's just in us. Not everybody, but a lot of people. It's just like some kids in school. Say a third grader. Everybody seems to, nobody's asking questions, but they just feel so lost when they see the problem being put on the board. They feel so lost. And when the teacher says, does anyone have any questions? There's usually, it's usually more than one. It's usually maybe like 2 to 3, say if you have a class of 20. You usually have 2 or 3 that self-consciously looks around. They may not even move. They just kind of shift their eyes left or right, play it off, going to the desk, look behind them. And if they see no one else with their hands up, guess what? They don't put their hands up. And so nobody knows. The teacher doesn't know. But that's a child. So, that's a child. But I say it to say everybody is sometimes afraid to ask for help, or if not afraid, ashamed or embarrassed. And if not those things, they just feel like they shouldn't because nobody else is. They feel like they shouldn't because nobody else is. So there is a self-consciousness there. Sonia says today was my was my first day of the 10,000 steps, so I had to be broken back in. Well, Sonia, look, I thought y'all were waiting to start it each. Did you just change up, or is this your group? Is this just what you're doing, Sonia? Because I know you said that your group typically does something different each month. So is this something that you're doing, or is this something that your group decided to do and you guys, you're starting early? Because I thought you guys would start in March. I thought you would start in March. Y'all, that little hill. The bigger hills aren't as bad as the small ones. The big hills aren't as bad as the small ones. I don't know why that is, but those little hills, and how y'all know, maybe that's why I think that is why I always want to jog up and down the little hills, because it's just, I don't know, it's something about the little ones. I think when I walk and I hit a big hill, I'm just motivated to get up it and down it. I'm so motivated. And when you do a hill, there is a rush. There's an extra rush of adrenaline. But with the small ones, they seem to be a task. But with the big ones, they seem to be more fun. I'm with the group, and it helps a lot. So what's the group? So are you guys, what are you going to do for March? Are you going to carry the 10,000 steps into March? Or what are you doing for March? What is the exercise for March? Oh, do those squats again. How many squats did you guys do? Was it 30 or was it 50? 50 squats? Oh, 50 squats daily is something else. 50 squats daily. I could do them daily if I'm in a challenge, but I got to give them rest. I got to do it every other day because those muscles don't play. That's one thing about the difference with cardio and weight training. Weight training, you don't have to, but you need to give those muscles a break. With cardio, you can do it every day, throughout the day, every day throughout the day. You don't want to overdo it, but you can do cardio every day throughout the day. Spring is around the corner, y'all. Spring is around the corner. February has 29 days this year, leap year. Thursday is the 29th. Friday is March 1st. Spring is right around the corner. I think Joshua said March 19th. I never did check. Y'all know I always have to ask y'all what day the next season starts. Is it March 19th, Sonia, that spring starts? Hey, Rhonda. Y'all please go over there and check out Rhonda. Lovely Sparks. Her and her fur babies. You're doing it yourself? Okay, I got you. You're doing that yourself. So Oh, Sonya, what will you do if the group decides? Have you guys decided what's going on for March? Because what are you going to do when they say March? We're going to do 10,000 steps the whole month. Betty says, I think I'm overdoing it with weights. Every day my muscles hurt. Yes, yes, Betty, yes. Um, you should maybe do arms, chest, and back. Say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then do legs and abs like Tuesday and Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday give yourself a day off. But you don't, you can give yourself a day off anytime. Because you don't have to, just as long as you give yourself a break. Like some people, they don't do the every other day thing. They just do like that, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, legs, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, arms. They don't do it that way. They just do Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday. Hello, how you doing? Yeah. Look, gotta get to it. The bills cry. Oh yeah, yeah. Look, yeah. Look, and then when you retire, sometimes they tell me you feel like going back to work. Look, you know how we ladies are. Rhonda says hello. I'm carrying the 10,000 steps into March. It was 30 squats. Okay, I got you. Rhonda says hello, Rosie, in April showers. Yes, y'all. Yes, yes, Betty. I was about to forget what I was talking about. Betty, um, they're going to be sore. Your muscles will be sore. But if you do Monday, Wednesday, then like upper body. Then Tuesday, Thursday gives them a chance. They're going to be sore, but it gives them a chance to get ready for the next time. Monday, you're going to be sore Tuesday, but by Wednesday, you should be ready to do upper again. Same thing for lower body. Tuesday, Thursday. Well, when you do it Tuesday, when you exercise your lower body Tuesday, it's going to be sore Wednesday, but it should be great to go Thursday. You should be great to go Thursday. Now, look, YouTube, that's not professional advice. That's just something that works for most people, okay? We're not giving out any professional advice over here. That's the disclaimer. Always consult your healthcare provider. Always consult your healthcare provider when starting a new exercise routine, when restarting an exercise routine, or when changing your exercise routine. But for many people, they don't really have to do that, especially if they're kind of on the lighter side. They just want to tone up a little bit. They don't, they can, decide how they want to do it. But over here, we do want to encourage people to consult your healthcare provider. Don't take anything that we say over here to be across the board, because we're all different. But we're all looking to maintain health. We're all different, but we're all looking to maintain health. You're going to do, yes, Betty, please, just do that. Because a lot of times, sometimes, like when you said you felt like you were doing too much, at least I'm glad that you were able to, catch that. Because a lot of times people really won't even think much about it. Or they'll just feel like, well, I'm doing too much, and they'll just stop. They'll just stop instead of cutting back. Because sometimes, people have different philosophies on working out. You may have somebody who will tell you to work out every day, the same muscles every day. I'll never tell anybody that. Not to work out the same muscles every day, no. They need a break. They do need a break. You want to get rid of that lactic acid, you do. They need a break. Your body needs a break. Each area needs a break, at least a day, and then you get back to it. Like I said, you may feel like you're sore all the time, because if you do work out Monday and you take a break Tuesday, Thursday, you wake up, you may not feel sore, but you're thinking, okay, I'm not sore anymore, but I have to do this again. You're thinking, I'm not sore anymore, but I have to do this again. And that's okay. That's okay. Just like with cardio, the more you do it, your stamina increases. The more you want to do it. The more you do it, the more you want to do it. And even with exercise sometimes, even though you love it, if you love it, sometimes you take a break. Some people even fast. We've talked about fasting over here. Some people even fast from exercising. They just make sure they continue to eat good, eat properly. Because eating good can mean a lot of things, right? Eating good can mean McDonald's and Wendy's every day to some people. So they continue to eat good because the key thing to know is a lot of it is in what you eat. A lot of it is in what you eat. Some people just have good genes. They look muscular and toned. And I'm not just talking about 20 something year olds. I'm talking about 30s and 40s. They look muscular and toned and they don't exercise or they don't exercise consistently. And they eat whatever they want to eat. They eat whatever they want to eat. And they still look good. But some of us have to work at it. Some of us, maybe it's in the thighs, maybe it's in the arms, maybe it's in the hips. So you have to work at it. Each person is different. Everybody is different. Rhonda says, that's great, Sonya, with your steps. Sonya says, I'm still here driving and listening. Thank you, Sonya. Thank you. Sonya, what did you do this weekend? What did you guys do this weekend? I don't even think I asked you. I know Friday I told you guys to do something good to treat yourself. To treat yourselves. Do something good for yourself. I did. I told you guys to treat yourselves. I hope you did. Treat your family. Treat your friends. But most importantly, treat yourself. Treat yourself. Because we oftentimes don't treat ourselves. We oftentimes don't treat ourselves. We're so concerned with what the kids need. For some people, the grandkids, the nieces, the nephews, the godchildren, the siblings, even your siblings, the parents. And that's good. It's good to have a good heart. It's good to have a good heart that way. But also make sure that you treat yourself. Treat yourself. Thank you for your inspiration. I'm trying my best to get to the place. I used to work out all the time and just got to you just got to get your mind in it again, Rhonda. You just got to get your mind into it again. Even if it starts out with just one day, just think of it like this, and I tell people all the time, I encourage other people because it gives my self-encouragement. It's self-encouragement as well. It encourages me. I encourage me. A lot of times people say, if you don't do it, who will? Now, that being said, you see someone who needs uplifting and encouragement, give it to them. In your own way. Nobody dictates to you how you uplift and how you encourage. But just make sure that you're doing it from a good place and that it's positive. So when sometimes we ourselves need some encouragement. We need to be uplifted. And we may not to say that we don't have anyone to do it, but a lot of times we don't share. We don't share things and people don't know. So you look like the strong person. You look like the strong friend. You don't look like you need much encouragement. You don't look like you need to be uplifted as much. But I think everybody needs to be uplifted. Now, when you encounter those who have a very, very, very arrogant attitude, it's like, what can you do to uplift them? It seems like they're just right, just. Y'all know how I like to say, they're just right, just. Everything is just fine. Everything is just right. They're just right, just. So you think, what is it that I can offer to uplift them? So, of course, you check on them because even through the arrogance, that's a strong friend. That's what we assume. But you still check on them because even the most arrogant people sometimes have up a wall. Sometimes the arrogance is their wall. Sometimes the arrogance is their wall. And a lot of times people talk about mental mental health and a person's mental state. But then you see them be destructive towards that person. I mean it's kind of like talking out of both sides of your mouth. And I guess we do talk out of both sides, huh? We talk out of our mouth, but it's kind of like It's kind of like trying to hold a coin and look at both sides. You know, you got to look at one side and you got to flip it to look at the other side. You got to look at one side and you got to flip it to look at the other side. So when you notice it and when you flip it, don't forget the other side. When you notice something, think of a coin. You notice it. When you flip it, don't forget the other side of the coin. Don't. I think some people, everything they think of is like flipping a coin, but not in a good way. I think of flipping a coin in a good way. You flip it and you see one side. You observe. You say, okay. And then you say, okay, now let's look at the other side. You approach them with the side that you're on. And if you're doing good service and you're being a good steward, you flip the coin and see the other side. So sometimes you can have an arrogant person, and on the flip side, he's a hurt person. She's a hurt person. She's not as strong as the arrogance portrays on the other side. So you have to be careful. You know, a lot of times people they don't care. They talk about stuff like mental health and mental illness and stuff, but they don't care. Because for the most part, most people aren't really qualified. They haven't been licensed. They haven't been certified. And at the bare minimum, they haven't been trained. Because you can be trained without having a license. But most times in most places, if you are trained, you will at least get some type of certification. You know? And be acknowledged through your city and state. You don't really have to always have a degree, but if you get the proper training, it's just like a cosmetologist. You know, most cosmetologists nowadays, I think, go through school, but there are programs where you can have, it has to be a licensed cosmetologist. They have to be there at all times, kind of like when you go into the doctor's office and they have physician's assistants. There has to be a RN there at all times. I think bare minimum there has to be a LPN or LVN there at all times in case they encounter something that's above their knowledge grade. So there are times where in the mental health field you can get a certificate for certain things, but even then that training is very minimal compared to a specialist, compared to a licensed person. So I think that's why sometimes we often don't understand that we talk about mental illness, and then some who talk about it, they act like they don't see it. You know, they talk about it, but then you start to wonder in the conversation, well, did you truly see it? Or, you know, because you talked about it, you mentioned it, but the way you're responding isn't appropriate. It isn't appropriate. Sonia says it's 62 degrees. Y'all already know who cooking. Who cooking? Sonia. Sonia, what's your favorite, Rhonda? What state are you, Sonia? Yes, Lions. Sonia said, I did a lot of cooking last weekend. Did a seafood boil on Friday, oxtails on Saturday, and Sunday I cooked chitterlings. Chitlins. Woo, child. Sonia, you eat chitlins? I didn't know that. I didn't know you eat those chitterlings. Sonia says Colorado. Rhonda says so beautiful. Sonia says yes, it is. I love the summertime and fall here. Rhonda says, you love chitterlings, Rhonda? A lot of people do. A lot of people do. Before I started to eat better, I would eat them like My family would have them for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And they didn't eat them any other time. Very rarely, I'll say rarely, very rarely that they would eat them any other time. Because they look at it as like I guess they look at it like, kind of like people look at Thanksgiving dinner. You can have turkey and dressing throughout the year, but most times people have turkey and dressing for Thanksgiving and or Christmas, and some people for Easter. Some people have it for Easter. So yeah, they look at, I think years and years ago, maybe some members of my family probably ate them more often. But y'all, they're so expensive. They're so expensive now. Like, not 2023, 2022. I think I may have showed y'all. I may have done a short. I was in the store and they were over $50. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. It was like at the highlight of everybody thinking that everybody had extra money from the government or something. Everybody thought everybody got this huge increase in their pay. And so people went haywire. They went crazy. It just got chaotic. They started raising the price of everything. Like chicken wings per pack were like $25 for a little while. Well, for not such a little while, for a good while. For a good while. And then they, after a few months, they gradually started to bring those prices back down. But those chitterlings, I do still see them over $30. I do see them for over. Yep, see, Rhonda says $90 for 30 pounds. Yeah. So I do see them right at like $32.99. I think I've seen some for like 35, 36. And then when they sit there forever, they mark them down. I'm trying to remember. Okay, this was 2022 when I saw them at a grocery store, and they were over $50, y'all. They sat there. Every time I went into that particular grocery store, I made it a point to see if they were selling. And they weren't selling out, because when people would look at them, they would walk right past. And then like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, y'all, Walmart had them for like $16.98. And then I think that Christmas, they put them at $13.98. But there were still other smaller chain stores trying to sell them for $30 and $40. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Sonya says, Rhonda, my family and friends always want me to fix them because they always want those chitlins, Sonya. Because they know I clean them right. Exactly. Sonya says, I found some at Walmart for $9.97. Yeah, I got 2 buckets. You got 2 buckets. I made them for my fam and friend. I didn't eat any though. Yeah, it's just like we were talking about before. Sometimes your taste buds change, and sometimes your taste buds don't change. Sometimes you just don't have a taste for it. But that's like spinach, asparagus. I won't say I didn't taste it. I maybe tasted it, and as a child, a young adult, I didn't like it. I didn't want it. I didn't really give it a chance. But when I started to eat healthier, or to at least, try to eat more healthy foods, I was taught that you can train your taste buds. And if you know that certain foods bring certain nutritional value, it is a good thing to train your taste buds. Train your taste buds. And now, y'all, I love spinach. I love spinach. I do. I love spinach. There's a content creator on here. She loves spinach. And her spinach always looks so good. It always looks so good. But yeah, now I love spinach. And so now it makes you wonder, looking back, was it the color? Was it the way it looked? Because y'all know collard greens are my favorite, right? So I was never iffy about collard greens at all. Maybe our parents just kind of started us on those from the jump. I was never iffy about collard greens. I love them. Turnip greens, wasn't too attracted to at first. Now I really love turnips. Not as much as collards, but I do. Sometimes I'll mix them, but just give me a good old bowl of collards and I'm good. So I'm good. So I will do that. I will cook collards, eat the collards by themselves. I'll cook collards and turnips and mix them. Typically, I just eat collards though by themselves, unless I just have that taste for both, and I will mix them. And I usually put okra with my collard greens. Like, how do you guys eat your greens? And I like mustards. See, some things I think for me, looking back, hindsight, I think it was just, sometimes it can be texture, y'all. Sometimes it can be the texture of the food that turns you off. Sometimes it can be the texture. Even if you haven't actually tasted, you can just look at it and it looks a certain way, like a marshmallow. A lot of people like marshmallows, but a lot of people didn't. A lot of my friends did not like marshmallows. They said it reminded them of the Michelin Man. That wasn't the reason that they didn't like them, but that's what they would say. And you could build a Michelin Man with marshmallows. You could build a Michelin Man with marshmallows. But a lot of people who didn't like marshmallows said that they just didn't look right and they just felt funny in their hands. And then even when they did give it a try and take a bite out of it, they didn't like the feel. They didn't like the feel of it. Rhonda says, hubby fixed collards, mustards last weekend. Really? Did you eat them, Rhonda? Do you like greens of any kind? Because, the husbands, y'all, sometimes, especially if it's something we don't like, the husbands will get in there and they'll tear it up. They'll get in there and cook. Sonia says, I love mustard greens. I make a cabbage with you made a cabbage with your oxtails, beans, and rice. That sounds good. That sounds good, Sonia. Rhonda says, oh, yes, I love greens. See, yes, I love greens. So, yeah, I wasn't too, high on turnips. And then I began to like those a lot. Mustards, it was just something. Again, it was just the look. We eat with our eyes first, right? We eat with our eyes first. And sometimes if the color doesn't look right, the texture doesn't look right, we won't eat it. And if we try it, we still don't really give it a chance. You have to train your taste buds. And that's just not with healthy foods. There are some sweets that we just like, like red velvet cake. When I was young, I was like, I don't want that red cake. like I don't want that. But then I can't remember if it was a wedding. I was somewhere, some event. And I tried it. And it was like, they were like, it's just food coloring. And I'm like, I don't want nothing that takes that much food coloring. I don't want anything that takes that much food coloring to make it look like that. Look at Sonya, y'all. Sonya cannot stand okra. Rhonda says, I grew up on a farm, lived off the land, self-sustaining farm life. Yes. Living off the land that's where it's at. That's where it's at. And it's so funny. People, they say, well, y'all eat all this food and y'all never know what they're doing to it. Oh, I know they put pesticides and all kinds of stuff on it. But it's still, at least we're doing what we can do. If you don't, have your own garden or, produce your own stuff, if you don't have your own, I remember my grandparents, they would go to the slaughterhouse. They had cattle and things, and it was time they would go, the freezer would be stuffed. So they fed their own animals. They had gardens, big plows, and all types of stuff. To a little kid, you're like, it looks like a big factory. But when you grow up and you see that, it was really just, it was a little factory. If your parents farm, that's their own little outside factory. And it's providing you good nourishment, good food. I'm gonna start having y'all. I'm got to put the insect repellent back. Got to pull the insect repellent back out. Don't you hate it when something bites you and you have no idea what it was, when it happened? Rosie says, hey, Rhonda. Rhonda says, that's great, Sonya. You brought that survival mind to the city. Yes. Having a garden, oh my goodness. And we talk about some of the things that they put on the food But even when you have your own garden, there are certain times you have to put something down, to keep pests away, to keep pets away, to keep stray animals away. And it has to go near or on your food. You just try to get the safest stuff possible, to put on it. But at least at least because we never know. We never know. Those that supply the grocery stores, we never know. Even those who supply farmers markets and stuff, we don't really know what they use. So if someone can have their own garden, that is really good. Grow your own tomatoes, Sonya, okra, corn, peas, good. How many of you guys have plum trees? Plum trees, fig trees, pear trees. It's good. You at least know a little bit about what you're ingesting. Rhonda, you love gardening? I look, I say I do it, but someone does it for me. Someone does it for me. And it's not a big, huge one or anything, but I do know the importance of it. The importance of, and sometimes, we're going to have to go to the grocery store for something. It's just good to be able to know how to, grow some things. I have a friend that grows bananas. I'm so used to fig trees, pear trees, plum trees, and the berries, the blueberries and blackberries. No, the blackberries and raspberries are what I usually see. And I have a friend, she grows bananas. Shits. What, that's your name? Oh. She grows bananas. Rhonda, he wasn't a good one. I got rid of him. These people are crazy. People think they can just tell you what to do. They think they can just tell your children what to do. That's what It's just amazing how people think they can tell you what to do. Tell your kids what to do. Tell your spouse what to do. Half of them, they can't even tell their children what to do, and they obey. They can't tell their spouses what to do, their significant others, and they obey. But they come on here and want to tell people what to do. He coming in here giving orders. Nobody gives me orders. Nobody. But God. Certain family members have earned that respect. They can tell me to do something, and I'm going to most likely do it because I know it's something good, something needed, something warranted. I am. I really am. So, y'all, I got back to my usual evening time. I may go back to, it just depends on my schedule. I may go back to, haven't been mornings in a long time. But over the summer, we were afternoons. So I may go back because it's going to start to be, nice. It's already starting to be nice. It's windy, but it's warm. Good, how y'all? It's windy. It's not cold. I'm sure we'll have cold days. Y'all remember the Easter snap that we talked about? How many of you guys heard of the Easter snap for cold weather? That Easter snap comes, and just when you think it's going to be warm and we're going to go into summer and it's going to get hot, you'll get that cold snap of weather. Rhonda says it's a very confrontational society. Exactly, Rhonda. Exactly. It's a great weakness. To be confrontational, especially for no reason at all, that's a great weakness. So, and a lot of times we fail the test, and go for it. So we want to be more mindful and pass the test and let that weakness be their greatness if that's what they feel like it is. Sonia says, I grew up having a fig tree in the backyard. Yes. Sonia, you did. I'm like, Sometimes it's best not to even acknowledge. Sometimes when I'm just out looking at stuff, I'm like, why even acknowledge that? Sometimes it's best not to acknowledge stuff. But sometimes people acknowledge stuff because it's just how people are. It's just how people are. No matter how trivial it is, because even when something is messy, a lot of times it can be trivial, and it only grows when you give it legs. It only grows when you give it legs. And I hate that. That's why I try to move around a lot, because people will let the most trivial things grow. They'll give it legs. They'll give it arms. The next thing you know, it's crawling like a baby, and then it's running. And it's just over and over and over and over. What's that getting back to? Too much stress for no reason. Don't let stress people stress you. Don't let stress people stress you. Don't let bothered people bother you. And I always say, don't y'all bother anybody. Because that's the best way to be. Because when you don't bother anybody, then you're justified in whatever your stance is. You're justified in whatever your actions are. And that's what we teach our kids. You go to school, don't you bother anybody. We don't really tell them don't stress anybody, but that may come up in the conversation. Don't you bother anybody, because you never know what kids are going through. And if you see somebody else bothering them, then you definitely don't bother them. That's a definite no-no, period. But you have to put some emphasis on it and let them know, if you see it, you definitely don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. So it takes a certain degree of intellect, a certain degree of integrity to, woosah and move on. Woosah and move on. Sometimes people just do stuff to have stuff to talk about, instead of talking about what they really need to talk about. Sometimes people do things, like kids, another example, when they do go to school and they do pick on people, or they give the teacher a hard time. That student at that moment may look like a bad kid, or some people may even say a troll kid. But sometimes a kid will come to school and give a teacher a hard time because their parents give them a hard time. They're both authority figures. And sometimes a teacher almost spends as much time with the student as the parents, especially if the parents work evenings. So they're at school with the teachers. In the evenings, their parents are at work, or maybe one of them's at work in the evenings and one of them isn't. So their parents are at work. So at least during the week, or maybe 3 to 4 days out of the week, if their parent gets off at hopefully they get off 7 and get some time. But if they don't get off until 10 or 11 o'clock, then they really don't see their parents. And then when they do see their parents are probably, they know they work in the evenings. So when it comes to checking homework, they're probably a little bit more strict. They're probably on them a little bit more because they can't be there with them during the evenings. Even if the sitter, which may be most likely a grandparent, is doing it, a good parent still wants to go over their homework when you can, even if it's in the morning before they go to school. And so, which is not a good time, but you have to work when you have to work. And sometimes, you be a bit harsh with your kids, or a bit strict with your kids, or, your kids just trying to get to school and you're asking them questions about this homework that they did last night with granny or with big sister or big brother, but you still want to know. And then you're kind of putting you're putting stress on them. So they'll go to school and put stress on the teacher. They're more intimidated by the parent than the teacher. They're more intimidated by the parent than the teacher. I'll say 95% of the time. What Rhonda says, right, Sonya, it's like every black home had a fig tree, persimmon tree, plum tree, hold on, get this hair on my face. Hydrangeas. Is that how you say that? Hydrangea? I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Hydrangeas. I never could say say that. When those E's and those A's get together. And the rose bush. Oh yeah, definitely the rose bush. And what about the elephant ears? A lot of homes had the elephant ears in their yards. Now I don't know. I think people went and purchased those, but a lot of houses had those elephant ears, and I can't think of the other ones. What are those things called, y'all? They look like big fluffy cotton ball, but they have a lot of petals on them, and they're round. Some of them are blue, some of them are green. What are those called? That's what that is. Hydrangeas. Is that how you say it? Hydrangeas? Rhonda, tell me how to say it when you go live. Because I never called them. And you know what? I've seen the name on them in the stores, like in Lowe's and Home Depot. But I never even really pay attention to the name. I just know, I just say blue and green flowers. I say those blue and green flowers. Those would grow. I know those would grow. They would just grow. Depending on the soil, the area, they would just grow. And those elephant ears, maybe they just grow in certain areas. But most people that I know who had elephant ears, they would go and get them, or they would break off some and take it home. Y'all have parents that do that, aunties and siblings. They come to the house when you're a kid or you're a teenager. You see them bent over in the flower garden, breaking off so they can take home and start their own. Those were the days. I think people still do that. But I don't know. I think more people, if you're not really into it, it's like out of sight, out of mind. So I do think people still do that a lot. But I had one aunt, she did it like all the time, y'all. The other aunties, they would be like, oh, here she comes. Here she comes. She see a new plant. She's going to want a piece of it. She's going to want a piece of it. Rhonda says back in the day, they grafted all their plants and shared bush. Yeah, shared bulbs. Yep. There wasn't any Lowe's or Walmart. They shared them. They were like, break you off a little bit, break you off a little bit, break you off a little bit. And you know, they had green thumbs. They would grow, they would grow, they would grow, they would grow. They had green thumbs. Rhonda says, I do. I share plants and pieces. Okay, too, for grafting. Yes. People, seedlings and stuff like that. Some people still do that. A lot of people do it. It's just gotta know. You gotta know. A lot of farmers, people who have these, not just greenhouses, but just people who really enjoy plants. People who really enjoy plants. Yep, a lot of people really do enjoy gardening. They really do enjoy planting their flowers, being in the flower bed, creating the flower bed, making it look really nice, around the home. And a good, nice flower bed does look really nice, especially when it kind of, wraps around a section of your home, maybe one side, both sides, or just to, depending on how your setup is in your yard. Flower beds can make a yard beautiful. So yeah, it's I wish a lot of, and maybe it's because we're getting older and I see this stuff, but I don't think it's that, because I remember it all as, a kid, and I remember it in my 20s. And I'm like, we just get busier and we kind of get away from it. And we were used to seeing mother, grandmother, because to be honest, even though things are so expensive nowadays, y'all, a lot of our parents the mothers were stay-at-home moms. And so, or they only worked maybe 4 hours out of the day. They were stay-at-home moms. So we got to see them do a lot more of that stuff. But, with each generation, things change a little bit, though they stay the same. They change a little bit, but they stay the same. And people started to work more outside of the home. You don't always have the two-parent household or the village type household, because it didn't necessarily have to be two parents. Sometimes it could be uh, grandparents. Grandparents would be like what, 55, 60. Back then, nowadays, grandparents are like 36. But, back in the day, grandparents would be like, and not so much, not for real, because, way back in the day, people were having kids at 14, 15, and 16 too. So if you had a woman who had her children young, when she was like maybe 45, she may have had 30-year-olds who had 10-year-olds. So we got to see a lot of stuff that they did. And we paid attention. Now, we didn't pay attention to everything, but we paid attention to the captivating things. We paid attention to the things that were routine as well. And so, farming, gardening, those things were routine for a lot of people. And, and for those who lived in the big city, there are a lot of things that are routine for them. And there are even people who farm in the big cities. There are people who farm in the big cities, y'all. So, you got to farm a little bit. Start growing and planting your own things. Start planting your own seeds. And that's just not talking about food. That's talking about in your mind. Stop allowing other people to plant seeds into your mind. Because when you allow other people to plant seeds into your mind, you don't prosper the way that you should. It's like I always say, peace, positivity, and prosperity. If it's not peace, there's chaos. If it's not positive, it's negative. It's negativity. Wherever chaos and negativity breed, you'll fail to prosper to your fullest potential. And sometimes we allow certain people to put those seeds of chaos and negativity in our minds, and we fail to prosper. Or we start to look a little weird. Hey, Bams. Hey, Bams. It's nice. It's really nice. It's nice, Bams. It's nice. It's cool. It's breezy. It's still in that up and down stage where you have some cold days. You have right now. You have a nippy. I'll call it nippy. You have a nippy week, kind of like light coat, light jacket, heavy jacket type, just depending on the day. And then some days it's warm. Like right now, it's like 56 or so maybe. But the wind isn't blowing right now, because 56 isn't that warm, but the wind isn't blowing. That's good. That's good. Get outside. Get outside, Bams. Get outside. Take some deep breaths in and out, in and out. Take some deep breaths in and out, and just release. Release. Release any negative energy. There's always going to be some negative energy, but release as much as you can. Give yourself a break. Get some of it off. That's all of y'all. That's anybody who comes across this live, replay. Y'all know what we do over here. Positivity. We're trying to uplift people, encourage people, because you never know who needs it. Somebody may come through this live and see it, and they don't need it. And then they say, hold up, wait a minute. Maybe I did need to hear this, or maybe I did need to see that. We drop nuggets in the chat. Drop good nuggets in the chat, so that people will pick up those nuggets. And just know that when you're encouraging somebody else, most likely you're encouraging yourself too. Because that's how it is for me. That's how it is for a lot of people I know. Sometimes when people are encouraging you, they're encouraging themselves. They're encouraging themselves. So always remember, we got a lot of mottos over here. Don't let stressed people stress you out. Don't let bothered people bother you. Don't you bother anybody, but don't let bothered people bother you. Sometimes people can be so bothered that they'll bother somebody else when they need to be looking in a different direction and bothering the thing that's bothering them. Because if something bothers you, you have every right to bother it. But at the same time, when we mature, we become women, we become men. We have to learn how to, try our best, try our hardest not to let bothered people bother us. All you can do is try. If you try, sometimes you fail, but hey, sometimes you fail a few times before you succeed. That's with anything in life. Sometimes you fail sometimes before you succeed. Sometimes you fail sometimes before you succeed. Bam says, I love listening to you lines ever since you and A gave me that understanding. I've had nothing but respect for you. Say, oh, Bam, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And Bam, while you're in here, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm not like, you know, kids come over here. Like a lot of kids like to come over here. And so I can't be anybody's mother. I can't be a child's mother who I didn't birth. So I definitely can't be an adult's mother. And nobody on an app can be my mother. I think we have to get back to that. And we have to start understanding and realizing that people develop relationships, YouTube ships through different means and for different reasons. Sometimes if you don't, if I'm going to be a good ship to you, then I'm going to help you to stay in a peaceful place because I don't like chaos. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that people don't like a little drama. That just means that people know when lines are crossed. And when you see things going on, sometimes you just stay out of it. So if you ever think that I have an issue, please ask me. Please ask me. Please ask me. Because I'm the type, like I said, I think more of on the mindset of ask. Because until you ask, you don't know. Now, of course, if you say, like I see people often say, I spoke to them several times and they didn't speak to me. Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm probably not going to even ask them. Why? Because that's a stress I don't need. So if they don't even, but if it depends on who it is, that's just like my chef finding this wine. If I see chef and he's not speaking to me, something's going on. We got to have a conversation. And some people, they're just meant for a season. Some people are meant for reasons. But that don't mean that you have to, no. You got people, I say it all the time, you got people, husbands and wives, they fall out with each other, right? Parents and children, they'll walk around there, one house, no matter how big it is, it's still a house. And they won't say a word to each other. So why can't it be that way when you're on an app? Won't say a word to each other. But they get on these apps and they act like the resistance there is no resistance. They gotta do it. They gotta do it. No, you don't. No, you don't. This is cyber. This is cyber. This is the World Wide Web. Stop letting your blood pressure go up. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes you have to do what you gotta do. Then you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Bam says, yes, ma'am. Rhonda says, true. Bam says, I haven't felt that way about you. You have never showed me anything to make me feel like that. That's good. That's good. Because my thing is, we're all human. And sometimes we will do things that rub each other the wrong way. But what do you do then? You just lay low. But it's nothing. My great granddad used to always tell us, a speak don't hurt. It don't hurt to speak to anybody, even your worst enemy. If you see them going through something, you keep it moving. You keep that long handled spoon out, but you speak. Because even though y'all may not be able to stand each other, you speak to each other and you let it go. Even if you feel like it's fake, that fake smile may be the only smile that they've seen in a long time. So anybody can be rude, anybody can be ugly, anybody can be nasty, anybody can get down, anybody can yell and scream. But after 30 years old, I say after 25. Once you get 50 or 60, or some women 30s, in their 30s, and you're taking these blood pressure medicines, these cholesterol medicines, God forbid, a lot of that stuff is going to be attributed to stress. A lot of that stuff is going to be attributed to stress. And then you can't go back and unstress it. You can't go back and undo it. It's just like things. You can't go back and undo it. Sometimes you can make things better. If you get high blood pressure, it may run in your family. Some people, they take the attitude, well, this is my family anyway. But but still, do some things to kind of release that stress. Go walking, go biking, go swimming. Do something to, open your mind. Open your mind and expand. Expand in a good way. And if somebody does have an issue with you, don't stress it. Unless they do something to you, sometimes people just aren't meant to be, Sometimes, and that's even with some people. Y'all know how people get divorced. People get divorced. And some couples will say, I thought I knew him, I never knew him. He'll say, I thought I knew her, I never knew her. That could be true. But what could also be true is that you outgrew each other. Or you grew apart. You grew apart. Hey, Spiky. What's up, Spiky Spike? Spiky says, hey, Miss Bams. Sometimes you grow apart. There's nothing wrong with growing apart. And when you grow apart, you don't have to lose your mind. 9 times out of 10, if you grow apart, it was because you were stressing each other out. Or you just didn't sometimes you just don't like each other anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just a part of life. But when you do have issues, take those issues up with the people that you have them with. Don't try to stress somebody who don't stress you. Because people come out of a bag that you don't know about. People don't know each other for real on these apps. Even when you talk, it's like when you're talking to each other and stuff, that person hasn't maybe gone to school with you, know some of your quirks that you haven't displayed on the internet. Some of the things lived with you. That's why when people decide to live together, man, you better make sure. You better be like, do I want to live with this dude? And you better be like, do I want to live with this chick? You better make sure. Because y'all can get along perfect as long as you're in your domain and he's in his domain. But then that living together, sometimes within a month, y'all at each other's heads like cats and dogs. It's like, no, this was a mistake. We shouldn't have done this. And sometimes, you bite your tongue and it goes on and maybe 6 months in. And even then, it's like, okay, we've been living together 6 months and we want to split already. So, we just don't know people. You don't know your own spouse sometimes. Sometimes you don't know your own siblings. You don't know what they're capable of. You have serial Ks, Most of their families said, I won't say most, I'll say many, said they would have never thought. So you just never know people. So you treat people with kindness. You treat people, the way you want to be treated. And then it's also this thing called discernment. Now, I will say, there are some people I just don't gel with. I don't click with. And when I find that out or when I see that, you have to use discernment. Sometimes people will put their discernment to the side and they'll let them keep trying and trying and trying. And then something just blows up. I don't care who else gets along with somebody or who else doesn't get along with somebody. If somebody hasn't done something to mistreat me, I'm not going to mistreat them. And at the same time, if there is something, we're human. We're only human. If there's something about somebody I just don't feel, that's that discernment. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Hey, Tamika. Bam said, right. Be talking to people just to find out. Yeah, you don't even know who you are talking to. Right. You don't. And you truly, honestly don't. And sometimes you find that you don't want to know, and that's okay. People have control issues. Sometimes people have control issues. You can't allow, if you can't control your children, you can't control your mates. How do you think you're going to control other people? So if you feel like you're a controlling person, just let that person know, or those people know, and then you can just part like the sea. Part like the sea. But everybody always wants to make something out of nothing. A lot of times people don't take accountability. You have to know your own flaws. And I know a lot of us, even that in adulthood, we don't accept our own flaws. First of all, you have to accept them. You have to accept them. When you know them, To know them is to accept them. You have some. Well, you know what? Some people know them and they don't accept them. They don't accept their flaws. They're never wrong. They're always right. Um, you know, and if that's how they are, that's how they are. You just may not need to be, connected with them. Spiky says, "Hey everyone." Tamika said, "Hey everybody." Joshua, "Hey Joshua." Hey, what you eating today, Joshua? But yeah, and see, and the thing that had almost made me go into Leo mode today was the fact that people know, they be knowing, and for some reason they feel like they want to nibble at you because they're too afraid to nibble where they should. No, nibble where you should. Don't nibble at me. Nibble where you should. Don't nibble at me. Remember, people know their flaws, and my flaw is a lack of patience. I don't have patience for stupidity, so I try to just keep it moving. I don't have to ask 1,000 questions. I'm not one of those people. Why do I need to ask 1,000 questions of people I don't know? I don't need to do that unless they've done something to me. I don't need to ask 1,000 questions. If I happen to see somebody, I don't have to ask them 1,000 questions about their life. I don't have to ask them 1,000 questions about anything that they do on an app. I just don't have to. Like I said, everybody does in jail. And sometimes you do, or you think that you do, and you don't. But a lot of people don't have that mindset. They don't have that mindset. They talking about stuff and you looking like, what? What? And I'm seriously looking like, nah, that's you. That's not me. I wouldn't inflict anything that I believe in on anyone else. Will I tell you what I believe? Yeah, I'm going to tell you that we need to be uplifting each other, that we need to be encouraging, that we need to be positive. I'm going to tell you that the word self is a very important 4-letter word. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. A lot of times. You got to treat yourself, take care of yourself so that you can be there for yourself and for your family. You got to keep your mental in check. Self-love, you got to love yourself. Self-care, self-motivation, self-improvement. You have to improve. Nobody's perfect. Too many people think that they're perfect and they're too concerned about the flaws of others. Joshua says, exactly. He said, hey, Bams. Joshua spoke back. Bam says, you carry, say that, Lions. Is that a typo, Bams? Am I reading? I mean, it's dark out here. I don't have my glasses on. I'm, I'm nearsighted. Right, Joshua. You know what it is. Don't let bothered people bother you. Don't let anybody bother you. Just be yourself. Exactly. Don't let bothered people bother you. Sometimes people are more bothered than you know. You don't know what's going on in somebody's mind. So even when they cut up or act up, I try to keep it moving. But sometimes it ain't their mind is stable enough to keep on nibbling. So then you have to what I do is what I do every day anyway. I say, okay, it's time for me to just jump on this elliptical. It's time for me to hit this treadmill. It's time for me to do backs today because today was back day, arm day, chest day. So I can get done and I can come out here and do my cool down. Hello, I'm from Russia. I'm about to block your ass because you crazy. This man said he from Russia. Yeah, I don't understand you, but I wish you a good evening and good luck. I appreciate it. Oh, he's too funny. Yeah, he said he don't understand me, but he's writing in perfect English. Thank you from Russia. I'm not gonna block you. Hey, we asked YouTube to push us out, right? Thank you. Thank you so much. That was too funny. Joshua said we good. Yes, he's from Russia. I appreciate that. I was like, when he said hello, I'm from Russia, that just threw me. I told y'all, see, patience. Patience is a virtue. I was about to say, well, why are you in here then? Because, but I didn't want to say that. Because at the end of the day, here's a view. And as long as he's not doing anything too bad, but I really thought he was trying to be funny because it was perfect English. I was like, you don't understand. But but he didn't say he didn't understand. He said he didn't understand me, so I guess he means whatever I'm talking about. But the saving grace was, I wish you a good evening and good luck. See, that's what I'm talking about, y'all. My patience, my patience are short. But sometimes you gotta catch yourself. You gotta, pump your brakes and catch yourself. Everything isn't always meant to be bad. Everything isn't always said to be bad. Now, if he says something else that's weird, then we know better. We know better. I can't believe I've been on here an hour and 46 minutes. So I've been here for an hour and 46 minutes. The chat has been fine. Nobody's come and said they needed to ask me anything, say anything. So from this point on, I'm good. For people that want to disconnect. But always remember in life that grown people are grown, okay? Grown people are grown. And don't be so fast to reject the people that care about you. Or wish, at least at the minimum, wish good for you. People don't move like you want them to move. Nobody on here is the barometer by which our movements should be measured. Okay? Remember, you are your own barometer. And if you want to make it even simpler, your own thermometer. You are your own thermometer. You are your own barometer. Nobody else's standards should be used to measure the way you move. Now, what other people do may turn the heat up or down. The measurements may become a little weird and off. But you're still the one who figures that out. You're still the one who figures that out. And just remember, when you get mad at the boss, don't come home and take it out on the wife because you're too afraid to take it out on the boss. Don't take it out on the husband because you're too afraid to take it out on the boss. And don't take it out on the kids because they're going to go outside and kick the dog. Okay? Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. And know that when you test people, sometimes they'll fail the test. Sometimes they'll fail the test. The goal is always to pass the test. So, don't test people. Sometimes you want them to fail and they pass. Sometimes you want them to pass and they fail. So any test given to me by something I don't know about, don't see, don't know, don't test those things. Don't test those things. They're a waste of time and energy. They're a waste of time and energy. It's Black History Month. Black History Month is almost over. And I haven't seen one good thing anybody saying anything about other than Jill's comfort zone. And y'all go check out Jill's comfort zone. And I mean, it's like nobody cares. When we don't have something, we're fighting for it. We're fighting for it. Then when we get it, we don't acknowledge it. How many did service on MLK Day? More people who don't look like me did service on MLK Day. How many people really, really decided, let's just embrace an African American museum? Let me throw up this short where I went here and I saw this. Let's have a trivia game. If you like mess, that's what you like. There are niches for that. Everybody likes a little mess sometimes. I said that I like mess, but I don't like mess. But I do like certain people. Now, what they're partaking in, that's them. But it's something about their character that I like. So you're going to like people who are messy. You're going to like people who are loving. You're going to like people who are nice. You're going to like people who are polite. You're going to like people who are mean. It just depends on the type of interactions you've had with them. And you don't just look at that one characteristic. You look at their other traits and characteristics. You look at their other traits and characteristics. And it's like this month, so it just popped, stuff just popped off. And I'm like, damn, this, like, I know people truly really don't care. But all this stuff we fought for, and I'm not gonna even get on the like the political stuff, the voting and all this stuff, whether you think it matters or not, it works or not. You see the footage. You see what people went through. If it doesn't hurt you to go to the casino and hit the button, why does it hurt you to go to the ballot box and drop the thing in, or to hit the box, or to fill in the circle? You know? If it doesn't hurt you to drag each other, why can't you say, okay, a day of peace, and let all of us who can't stand each other, we can't stand each other, because you're going to always have falling outs. You're going to always have those. We can't stand each other. Why can't there be an open call to say, everybody, whether you like me or not, I'm going to have trivia day. You can have prizes. You cannot have prizes. You may not be able to afford to have prizes. But guess what? We're going to have a day of fun. And we're not going to partake in the BS. It's going to always be somebody who's going to come with the BS. So what should happen on that day is whoever that person is that comes with the BS, their group or whoever they most affiliate with should shut it down. Say, hey, you know what? You know, we already said what this is going to be today. It doesn't have to be money involved. It can just be a day of stress relief. Stress relief. Now, I know some people like rah, 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 rah. Some people like that. But I'm telling you, you need some stress relief. That is not your stress relief. Because if you're rah, rah, rah like that, 9 times out of 10, you're tense, you're intense, and you're tense. You're intense and you're tense. Bam says, you better say that, Lions. Joshua says, hi, Rhonda. Joshua says, it's about doing the right thing. Exactly. Exactly. Spike Lee put it best. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. And if you think somebody didn't do the right thing for you, cut them off and move on. Why you harping on it? Why harp on it? Still pulling along that stress. You're still pulling on that stress. Pulling it on. So I've been here 1 hour and 52 minutes. So at this point, there are no issues. There are no issues. Because if 2 people argue, people tend to see 2 fools, not 1. Especially when they had a chance to get out whatever it is that they're feeling. And they keep on and keep on and keep on. A stranger walks up. Doesn't have to be a stranger. A little kid can walk up. And they're going to be bewildered. Like, okay, which one is which? Which one is which? You don't want people to not know who you are. You don't want people to not know who you are. So on that note, anybody whispering to somebody, I wish you all the same as I wish my chat. Peace. Think of your mind. Peace of mind. Positivity. Without it, there's negativity. And wherever chaos and negativity live, you fail to prosper to your fullest potential. And you should want to prosper. You should want to prosper. You should want to prosper to your fullest potential. You never know what that is. You never know what your fullest potential is. But if you're always down in the gutter, you're always rah, 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 you don't even have the time to figure out what it is. We're all living life. We all go through things. You've been through something, you're in something, God forbid, probably going to go through something. Probably going to go through something. So keep your mind in a state of stability. Keep your mind in a state of stability so that you can handle the things that are most important in life, the things that are most important to you and your family and your friends, your close friends that you know and love. I have friends that I haven't met, so I don't want to say because you haven't met someone, they're not your friend. But remember what we talked about earlier. You truly don't know someone even when you've lived with them for years. So remember that. Stay positive. Don't leave any place with more stress than you went into that place with. Be it the mall, work, church, an app, YouTube. If you're leaving with more stress than you came in, than you had when you logged on, you need to stop logging on so much. If you're leaving with more stress and nobody's telling you what to do, but instead of thinking people are hurting you, listen to words that are meant to help you and take them as the help that they're meant to be. Joshua says that movie 1989, Do the Right Thing, film in Brooklyn, New York. Yep. Just stay conscious. Don't let distract you. They might take away from your energy. Exactly. Stay healthy and health and wellness. Health and wellness. Who said it in here the other day? I would put that on the community wall if I could remember myself. I can't remember. Y'all, who said it? The other day, someone said that your health is your wealth, and that is so true. Your health is your wealth. Your health is your wealth. Without your health, how are you gonna become wealthy? You know, everybody has that desire. Everybody has that dream. Everybody has that want. Everybody has that need. Your need may not be to be the richest person in the world financially, but everybody has some financial need, a degree of financial wealth that they need to attain. So when you're staying stressed out, you can. It's enough things going on in life than to come to an app and get that stressed out. It's enough. So why do that? Why do that? And people, don't bother people. Bothered people, don't bother people. Don't let bothered people bother you. Sometimes just know when to break a chain. Sometimes just know when to break the chain. Just know when to break the cord. Whatever it is, if it's disagreements, sometimes they're not disagreements. Sometimes it's just, like I said earlier, discernment. Something is telling you that you don't really, need to be in a certain place, or maybe it'll be healthier for you not to be in a certain place, or maybe you don't want to do this or do that because you know how people's feelings are. But at the end of the day, the only feelings that matter most are your own. The only feelings that matter most are your own. And no adult on here needs another adult. And stop letting people plant seeds let people plant seeds of tranquility. When someone tries to plant a seed of chaos, ask them something, ask that person to tell you something that'll be a seed of tranquility, and watch their reaction. Watch their reaction. So when someone tells you, look, this, he did this or she did this, he won't do this, she won't do this. Or when a little birdie tells you that, pay attention to what kind of bird it is. Pay attention to what kind of bird it is. We should all have discernment to know. Some people's discernment is keener than others. And we're just going to be honest, we're adults here. Some people are more intellectual than others. Some people are smarter than others. Doesn't mean that others aren't smart. I think most adults, you have adults who have mental issues that are smart as whips. So I think most of us know. Sometimes we seem to want to engage in the negative. Yes, Joshua, rise and shine. Rise and shine. Have a blessed day, Gabriel. Thank you for coming by. You have a blessed day as well. And for everyone who comes in and stops in from all these other places, I appreciate you. I thank you. And I thank you for spending some time with me, whether it was a second, a minute, 5 minutes, or this whole time, because you could have been doing anything else. And like most of us, we multitask. So remember that people do multitask, okay? Remember that people do multitask, and they don't just sit still, you know, remember that. Remember that. And always say what you truly mean. Say what you truly mean. Like my pops and my grandpops used to say, stop skirting around what you want to say. Or stop saying stuff that's really, honestly, and truly irrelevant to what you need to say. Thank you, Gabriel. I appreciate you. Hopefully you'll come back. Anybody who catches this replay, please like and subscribe if you would like. Or come back. Come back. It's all support. As long as you're positive. As long as you're positive. And motive free. Motive free. Motive free. No bad motives. No bad vibes. It's enough of that. And there are enough places for that. But it's not over here. It's not over here. So again, we welcome people over here for positivity. To encourage each other. To drop nuggets that will help each other. And if they don't help us, maybe they'll help a family member, a friend, an acquaintance. That's what we want to do. Stop being so intertwined and tangled up in negativity. Stop. Stop trying to control. And if you have an issue with someone, cut them loose. It's not hard. It doesn't take a lot. You do it and you be done. Done. So y'all take care of your mental health. Take care of your emotional health. Don't just be concerned with your IQ. Be concerned with your EQ. Not just your IQ. Be concerned with your EQ, your emotional quotient. Okay? Okay? Because in emotional times, that's what's going to serve you best. Having a good emotional quotient. It is. Thank you to the 57 people who are in here, whether you've been here before or this is your first time. You don't have to drop in the chat. I see now why people don't drop in the chat. You drop in the chat to be supportive where no one else will or is being, because they're still hanging up in the skies. And people don't take that as support. So I always take it as support. The only way it's not support is if you come over here to be chaotic. So everybody doesn't like to say hello, and with good reason. But any view is important and it's supportive. You guys have a great night. I've been on here much longer. So that being said, I'm done. And I wish you guys peace, positivity, and prosperity. Bye, y'all.